Hello everybody, my name is James, hope you're doing well and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about updates on Yuki Tsunoda and Oscar Piastri. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Formula 1 content. Also make sure to follow me on X at James's Pit Lane, I'll leave a link in the description, but let's jump straight into the video. So let's start with Tsunoda, with Red Bull admitting that Tsunoda's performances are still not good enough. As we know, since being promoted into the Red Bull seat from the third race of the season in 2025, Tsunoda has struggled in that second Red Bull seat, although there have been better performances in the second half of the season, while in the first half of the season Tsunoda was really struggling to score points. Since the summer break, Tsunoda has been in the points a bit more. I mean, in Baku, he finished in 6th place. That was a good result for him. And then in Austin, he was able to finish in the points in both the sprint and the main Grand Prix. But Tsunoda is a long way off his teammate Max Verstappen, who, as we know, has put himself back into title contention following a brilliant run of races. You know, he's finished above the McLarens in every race since Monza. And in Austin, Verstappen outqualified Tsunoda by almost 8 tenths and finished nearly a minute ahead of Tsunoda in the Grand Prix. Now, Red Bull are expected to make a final call on who will partner Verstappen next season following this weekend's Mexico Grand Prix. And speaking about Tsunoda's current form, Red Bull team principal Laurent Mekies said, as quoted by Crash.net, "We always want more. I'm not going to tell you it's good enough because you are right in quoting your numbers. I'm not going to tell you that it's good enough. Nobody feels like that. Yuki doesn't feel like that. All I'm saying is that it's 2 races in the points. It's 2 very good starts. It's 2 very good first laps. And it's a progression compared to what has been shown so far this year. Is it good enough? No. I would lie if I was telling you that, and more so Yuki would not be happy if I was telling you this is good enough." Now, Tsunoda is set to complete the 2025 season with Red Bull. What happens next year, though, is unclear at the moment, although it has been widely reported that it is expected that Red Bull junior driver Isaac Hadjar will replace Tsunoda at Red Bull next year. But yeah, chances are we'll find out more following the Mexican Grand Prix this weekend. But let's move on to McLaren, with it being revealed that the consequences for Lando Norris have been dropped. If you go back to the Singapore Grand Prix, you'll remember that Norris went for a move on his teammate Oscar Piastri at the start of the race at turn 3, but ended up barging into Piastri and took the position. And while initially McLaren allowed Norris to stay ahead of Piastri, it was revealed in Austin that McLaren had imposed consequences on Norris for him being deemed at fault for the 2 drivers clashing at the start of the Singapore Grand Prix. And according to the race, these consequences were believed to relate to Piastri getting to choose to leave the garage before or after Norris for the final part of qualifying, and set to be the case for the remainder of the season, so that Norris was held accountable for the minor collision that he was ultimately responsible for. However, things changed in Austin. As we know, the 2 McLarens crashed in the sprint. As we know, Piastri was putting pressure on Lando Norris on the rundown to turn 1 and ended up doing the switchback on Norris to get better traction down the hill. But in doing that, he collided with Nico Hülkenberg, and that tipped Oscar Piastri's car into Norris's and took both McLarens out of the race. Now, McLaren initially blamed the incident on Hülkenberg and Fernando Alonso, both of whom were on the inside of turn 1. Alonso was on a very tight line, and Hülkenberg had to miss the apex of the corner to leave space for him. But after looking at the replays, you saw McLaren Racing Chief Executive Zak Brown retract the comments he made about it being Nico Hülkenberg's fault, and in fact, he apologised to Sauber for the comments that he made. And the race say that McLaren has also revised its position on the role Piastri played in its review of the incident, with the race saying now McLaren accepts that Piastri could have been more careful with his move, and he himself had to bear some responsibility. And as a result, McLaren has opted to undo its most recent intervention, with Oscar Piastri saying that McLaren has opted for a clean slate following the United States Grand Prix weekend, with Piastri saying, as quoted by motorsport.com, "We've gone through it again. As we go through the weekend, regardless of what happened, there is a degree of responsibility from my side in the sprint, and we're starting from a clean slate this weekend." But that's going to be the video from me today. Thank you ever so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos, and until the next one, take care. Bye.